Hey, what's going on, guys? Munchlax TCG here, and today we're going to be going over one of my favorite types of archetypes, and that being Stall. It's a very fun deck to play. It's a very Stall type deck, and let's just get into it. Now, coming up this Friday, there's actually an Ultra Battle Arena deck coming out, and they have a bunch of good cards I'm getting, so I don't have them yet, but 4 Stellaris Jirachis is our first Pokemon. And now what Stellaris Jirachi says is look at the top 5 cards of your deck once per turn and choose a trainer card you find there. So that card's super essential when it comes to a lot of decks, and I don't have them yet, of course, because they're like $20 to $30 each, but I plan to get them in the future. Next, we have 4 Poipole Knockout Reviver. And what Knockout Reviver says is during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon is knocked out by your opponent's attacks. Don't take any prize cards. Sorry about that, guys. My cat thinks it's okay to get in the way. Alright, and then now it's a Psychic Energy and 1 colorless, so we can't be doing that every turn without a 3/3 line of Malamar. And a somewhat important attack on Inkay is Hypnosis. Your opponent's Pokemon is now asleep, so if you need a stall for a turn, that's a good out you can use. And then we play 3 Malamar with Psychic Recharge. And Psychic Recharge says, once during your turn before you attack, you may attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. So we're going to try and always have a Poipole on the bench that we can use Psychic Recharge onto to infinitely loop. Now, a main problem with this deck is Ninetales that says discard 2 Fire Energy and bring up a bench Pokemon, and so they can just constantly snipe our things. So we play a 1/1 Solrock Lunatone, and the important ability on here is Lunatones. And it says, if you have Solrock in play, all fire Pokemon that aren't EX or GX have no abilities. So the only thing that's important that shuts off is Ninetales. Next, we play 1 Giratina. And this is just for if we're ever finding ourselves having to attack and play like a normal Malamar deck, we have our Giratina as our attacker. We play 1 Mew for Pikarom, so that we don't just get sniped and they killed 2 important things. We play 1 Latios GX. That's also an important out for, we can use it against Pikarom, we can use it against Mewbox, so to use the Clear Vision GX attack, we can use it as well against Malamar, just so that the Espeon Deoxys can't use its GX attack. Next, we play 1 Wobbuffet. What Wobbuffet does is its ability, what's it called? Sorry, Shady Tail. It says as long as this Pokemon is in play, as long as this Pokemon is on your bench, all Prism Stars on your opponent's side of the field have no abilities and can't attack. So that's our out to ability Zard, so they can't infinitely loop with Victini and Fire Energies. For our supporters, we play 4 Cynthia. We play I didn't know this supporter really did before I made this deck. It plays 3 Ingo and Emmett. You look at the top card of your deck, and you discard, and you can choose to draw from the top of your deck or the bottom of your deck. And then we play 3 Lusamine. Lusamine says put in a combination of supporter or stadiums from your discard pile into your hand. So later you'll see we'll be playing a stadium, and we can use that stadium to get back our Poipoles. So we always have a way of getting Poipoles into our hand, or into play after, to get the stadium. Next, so essentially what we want to do is try and deck our opponent out. And a problem with that is Cynthia, of course, because they can just constantly Cynthia away their big hands. So we play 2 Jesse and James to make it to where if we Jesse and James them, they're eventually going to have to discard, we have to discard the Cynthias eventually. Next, we play 2 Broxgrit, and this is the way we cycle through our Poipoles so that once 3 of them die, we have a way of getting back to our 4th one. Alright. Next, we play 1 Faba. Now, I specifically played Faba for one reason. One of my friends and teammate, Mitsu O'Neill, didn't want to deal with me when he was playing Abilities Lard. So he played in 2 Stealthy Hoods. And I specifically used the Stealthy Hoods, or the Faba, to get rid of the Stealthy Hoods, so it wasn't an auto-win for him. Next, we play 4 Mysterious Treasure. Discard a card from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a Psychic Pokemon. Of course, every single Pokemon we play is Psychic type except our Jirachi, so that's a good way of getting a bunch of cards we need. Next, we play 4 Pokemon Communication. It's super important to keep the loop going of not taking our opponent to take prizes, so we have to always make sure that we're able to find the cards that we need. Next, we play 4 Acrobike. We're always going to be milling our deck to pretty low hand size so that we can hit the cards we're needing when we Brock's Grid them back in Psychic Recharging and Stellar Wishing just to hit the necessities. Next, since we're playing Jirachi, you also gotta play the skateboards to retreat. That's the main reason for those. And then 1 Beast Ball. Beast Ball is essentially saying we're not taking prizes 9 times out of 10 unless it's with Giratina. So we have to have a way for us to get to our Poipoles if we prize them. So the Beast Ball lets us go and say, Beast Ball, look at our prizes, which can be helpful as it is, but then we can also grab a Poipole if we need to. Oh, sorry guys, my camera scooted over. Next, we play 3 Ultra Space, and that's the stadium I was talking about earlier. So what happens is, Ultra Space says, search your deck for search your deck for an Ultra Beast and put it into your hand. So you can Ultra Space for a Poipole and then put them on your bench and Knockout Reviver. And I'll go over like how the loop works once we're done going over the deck profile, and then I'll wrap up the video. So of course, since we have to be playing Psychic Energy to use the attack, so we play 4 Psychic Energy. I think 4 is a bit too little. I would maybe cut one thing to play a 5th, just so that I always have a way of finding them, because I found myself not being able to find them after the couple games I played. And then finally, you play 2 Recycle Energies. Now, it makes it easier to where I'm only having to attach the Recycle Energy once per knockout and Psychic Recharging the other energy. Alright, so this is the deck pro. This is the deck list. Now, how the loop essentially works is, what I found myself doing is I like to have 1 Malamar on the bench, maybe 2, depending if I have my Recycle Energy. And I'll have a Jirachi on the bench with an Escape Board on it. And I'll have Poipole in the active and go Knockout Reviver. They take the knockout, I send up Jirachi. I find my way of getting a second Poipole, put it on the bench, attach the Recycle Energy, Psychic Recharge, then Stellar Wish, retreat. Now, the way, like, for our supporters, I'm going to find myself Psychic Recharging first, and then Brock's Grit if I need to get back the Poipoles, and then get Ultra Space. Or even, and then some other turns, I'm going to find myself Lusamine for Brock's Grit and Lusamine, and then Lusamine for Ultra Space and Lusamine, just so I always have a way to get out my Poipoles no matter what happens. Alright, and there's some other decks I'm thinking about making stall-wise. One of my friends, Grant Manley, just got second at the new, I don't remember what the regionals was. It's in New Jersey, I remember that much. But Atlantic City, that's where it was. He got second place with Atlantic City with Bird Flu. And so I've been thinking about profiling that deck. He and my friend trainer Chip, who you guys might know, had a pretty interesting deck list on it. I might see if it's okay with them if I feature it. And I'm even thinking about doing some player interviews with Grant, maybe some other people that made top 8.